James, I was out of town up in the North Carolina mountains, enjoying some family time, knowing that Daddy wasn't doing good, but my sister came in from South Carolina and my daughter, she was in town. She's very mature, 25-year-old, and I knew he was in good hands. And he went into a lot of pain, and his condition worsened, and they thought they were going to have to call me and tell me to come home. We were able to make some phone calls and actually got him in the hospital and relieved the pain. And with a couple of quick procedures that the doctors could tell right away that that his kidneys weren't doing real good, so he had to have some assistance. And so it was fine and at that time, but his condition began to worsen. He had esophageal cancer, and he originally said he wasn't going to take any treatment. However, we all, when we get in that situation, I would assume, obviously not in that situation, but most of us say, you know, we don't want to be a burden and we don't want to put people through a lot of things. But he had a goal, and that was to live to see his youngest grandson graduate from high school, and that was 4 more years. So he decided to do the chemo prior to having to go to the hospital for emergency situation, and then he decided to do the radiation, and his condition steadily worsened, and it really became apparent on that particular weekend. So I talked to Bent Gay and Robert Reed of Integrity, who are really good friends of mine, and explained the situation. And they really explained the situation to me better than I ever understood it. I assumed that when you went into hospice, you know, that was it. I mean, it was days or maybe a week or two. But they explained to me that it's not like it used to be, that people go into hospice and use that assistance for months, even years. And I had no idea. So we elected, I discussed it with my mama, and she had to say so over everything, and which that's the only way I'd want it, only way that I would have it. And together we decided to, she decided with my support that we would contact Integrity Hospice. And they came out, did a pre-eval, and did get Daddy qualified for hospice. And for about, I want to say 8 months is the length of time hospice was there. And they would come 4 hours a day and sit with my daddy and do whatever he needed. A nurse would come by on an as-needed basis, scheduled no less than once a week, but was on call all the time, and Mama could call them at any time, and they were there. The help during the day really took a lot of pressure off Mama, because they would literally clean her house up for her, even though I don't know if it was required, but they did it. And so as the months and days went on, Daddy worsened, and in the last couple of weeks, the nurse, Beverly Patterson, was the one that was on, that would come by on a daily basis. Wasn't required, but she did, and was on call 24/7. And I asked her one day, I said, do you ever eat or sleep? I mean, she just seemed like the Energizer bunny. And even though in the last few days, Daddy, he wouldn't really respond hardly to anybody except her. She would come in with her bubbly personality and her caring spirit. He would look up and say something to her. And on the last few days, it seemed like she was there just about 24/7. And it was kind of interesting. This is the first meaningful death that I've experienced personally. I've had friends who lost loved ones at a much earlier age than me and never really understood. And so she would tell me the process of what's happening. And she would say a medical term, and I'm like, I don't really know what that means, but and if I'd asked her, she'd have told me, but I would look it up on the internet, and I would sit there and read, and everything that she said was spelled out on this particular article I was reading, which was, I think I Googled something like elderly patients' last dying days. And it was a really good article that helped me understand what was going on. And I was able to relay it to Mama and be able to say, it's okay, that's normal. And it also helped me ask questions to Beverly, what's going on. And obviously, it goes through everybody's mind, well, how much longer? And I would ask Beverly that, and she was straight up. She told you what you needed to hear in a very calming manner. Her bedside manner and the way she handled everything, the way Integrity handled everything, was just, couldn't ask for anything more. And Mama made the comment several times, I don't know what I would have done without them. Then the night before Daddy passed away, she was there till 1:30 in the morning. She had been there from about 5 o'clock that afternoon. And when she left, I had spent the night over there a couple of times, or the nights prior, because I didn't want Mama to be alone. And so by around 1:30 the night before, Beverly said, now you call me if you need me. If anything happens, you call me. Well, the next morning, Daddy passed away around 8:40. And after a few minutes of being with him and being with Mama, I text Beverly along with my 2 sisters, and I got a phone call about 10 seconds later. She was fussing at me. Why didn't you call me? And she was fussing in a caring way. And so then she came right over. She was able to take control of the situation. And in reading the article and her advice, it was, don't be in a hurry. Say your goodbyes. Don't be in a hurry to call anybody. Don't call the funeral home until you're ready. And Beverly handled all that for us. She handled the funeral home when they came in. They had a few questions, and she pretty much handled it and told them what needed to be done. And she was what we needed. It's what Mama needed. And all the people at Integrity and from Robert and Bent to all the caregivers that would come throughout the months who would sit with Daddy, and to Beverly. Just everybody from top to bottom at Integrity was just incredible. And it would not have been, it's never easy, but they made it bearable. They made it more comfortable. They took a burden off Mama while we were able to keep Daddy at home. And we're forever grateful to them.